All right, welcome to the party, pals. GRC Mafia. So right out of the gate, we're here to break down barriers, foster collaboration and community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Definitely a learning and growing environment. This is our job readiness and group resume review session, which is the last Thursday of every single month. The first 2 weeks, the first 2 Thursdays of each month are talks. The middle of the month, we have open discussion. And the last Thursday is this job readiness and group resume review. If you didn't know, you can go to our website, studygrc.org. At the very bottom is the contact form. There's nothing that's actually required on there. You could actually just submit your redacted resume for these sessions at the end of each month. And we just go through and do it anonymously and so forth. Definitely want to encourage everybody to come up and join the stage if you'd like to join the conversation directly. You do not have to turn on your video if you choose not to. But that option is there. I will be dropping that link periodically in chat. Certainly ask questions, discuss topics within the chat or on Discord. So Discord, we have a live chat channel where you can drop your social media links or resource links that you'd like to share. YouTube will not let you drop the links, but inside of the Discord live chat, you can. Definitely want to get everybody connected and so forth, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever social media you want to connect on. Don't share anything that you don't want to be public. If you happen to do so, just reach out to me on Discord, LinkedIn, or contact at studygrc.org, and we can go ahead and figure out how to get that fixed. And then also, if you do have questions or have a topic or otherwise, even if it doesn't pertain to exactly what we're talking about, worst case scenario, we'll circle back around to that. And then we also have our website here, studygrc.org for the rest of the platforms, and our resources page as well. The resources page is definitely the pot of honey there or otherwise. And I'm going to drop Space Taco's Discord as well for the GRC Audit Treasure Trove. And we do not currently have any sponsors or otherwise, although we are open to it. However, I do want to go ahead and mention B-Dubs' website, so britwhite.io. Not only is she doing a cybersecurity GRC related article every single Monday, but then also the ongoing CISSP study group, which is live streamed on YouTube, completely free, no strings attached, and it's out there for everybody. No matter where you're at in your journey, it's a perfect fit, because even if you don't understand something, you could just ask questions, comment on the video, throw it in Discord, and so forth. And then also we have PBO's channel here too. If you guys are not already subscribed, highly recommended. One of the biggest key things here is his government compliance for cybersecurity playlist. 65 videos, which I guarantee you is probably over 100 hours worth of content there alone, all kind of piled together in there, different frameworks, standards, regulations, and covering all of the family groups for the 53 as well, if that's your vibe. I don't know why I dropped his YouTube channel directly. PBO has a tag for that. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the first resume pulled up so we can go ahead and get this party started. So this is going to be the very first one. If you guys would like to hop up here on the stage, I dropped that link in chat already. Oh yeah, and then also you guys can go through and get your badge. I forgot that part there. Let me go ahead and drop that in chat as well. So with the badge, every single Thursday is our primary meeting at 6 p.m. Central, this meeting now. So you guys can go into the live chat channel on Discord and put GRC Mafia in capital letters, and then the bot will give you a little green check mark when it's successful. That gives you the GRC Mafia role for the next week. It gets reset every single week. You get access to a hidden channel, and then also you get a badge next to your name inside of the Discord server as well. Oh yeah, and then also Rothnir, congratulations. So our giveaway, every single month we also have a giveaway sponsored by cyber.com. And this month it was David Miller who ended up winning. So that's a Study GRC blackout hat, and then also the FAIK book as well. Bam, GRC Mafia. So congratulations, Rothnir. All right, yeah, and then I see, Rothnir's in chat. We had PBO, Cam, B-Dubs is behind the glass here. Oh, we got Evan popping in as well. Brexy, the real Bilbo.
B-Dubs is here somewhere, right?
Somewhere. Um, yeah, no worries about not about missing the live streams and so forth. So yeah, I mean, life happens and so forth. So yeah, and I'm sorry about your brother there as well. Sounds like you've had a pretty rough time lately. Things, yeah, sometimes, yeah, life happens. Yeah, and then you just do GRC Mafia in capital letters inside of the live chat channel on Discord. And then you'll get a special role. I'm going to go ahead and do it as an example here. Bam. And then like mine also got a green check mark there, meaning it was successful. All right, so with this resume here, I wanted to also remind everybody, make sure that you redact your resumes prior to submitting them. We do have that on the form itself. 90% of the time, we're just not going to review it if it's not fully redacted. So I had to manually go through and redact this one. But this also appears to be somebody who has a bachelor's of business administration with a cybersecurity minor, maybe, is what it looks like. And then it doesn't look like they actually have professional experience, but they've went to school, they have upskilled a little bit and so forth. And so I kind of wanted to throw this one in here as well, so we could cover it. It is one page, B-dubs, so that's one upside.
I think that's definitely one upside. There's a lot of other things. Where do we want to start?
I mean, I already kind of had the jump start on this. They have their phone number and email address on here. You mentioned before about the email address, but especially up here at the title, I don't feel it's very clear. I don't think that they really need cybersecurity graduate up there. And then what kind of security analyst? What are you actually trying to go for? You'd want to customize this title line. Unlike
I would definitely remove the word enthusiast, and just put what job title you're going after. And then like security analyst, the A isn't capitalized, so just make sure that you are, your formatting is all matching and fluent.
All right. So, and Evan does say that they do offer the bachelor's for cyber with business administration, I guess.
Yeah, that might be what it is. Which on that, I'm not sure, other than maybe locations, that's redacted, but all you need is your bachelor. You don't need to put where it's from. You don't need to put your GPA, the dean's list, graduated magna cum laude. You don't need any of that. I mean, that's all great and congratulations, great job, but your employer's not going to care, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think maybe the university and what it was, but yeah, I don't think the GPA and dean's list and
the university isn't necessary.
I mean, it could be. I mean, it's not a community college, but no. Yeah, that probably doesn't make a big difference.
No.
But there are places that only hire from certain places too, so. But maybe that could be preventive measures. Oh, so inside of the chat, I posted the open stage link, so anybody can click on the studio.restream.io link and join the stage there. There you go.
Another thing on this one is the formatting is way out there. Like under the technical skills, there's bullets, but then the experience below, there's no bullets. There's a dash. But then like those bullets in the experience, your text goes all the way to the right. But your lines that break up the sections, they're not aligned. Yeah, everything is way out of alignment there.
Yeah. One of the other things that I noticed on here as well is I think the technical skills is great there, but they put projects down at the bottom. And so this individual does not actually have any professional experience. And I would say to add more projects and put that above at the top here.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
we've talked about that a little bit before. They also have cybersecurity achievements down here at the bottom. That's probably, I mean, if you were going to, you could list, Dean's List and so forth in achievements. And I would probably rename that to like professional achievements or something and see if there's other stuff you might be able to add. Things that I noticed on here as well is technical skills. Oh, we got a feedback.
Yeah. B, you got some feedback down in the bottom.
That's not me.
Not you, B-dubs at the bottom. My bad.
What is your guys' thoughts on the professional affiliations?
I had a little disagreement. That's why I came up.
Oh, let's go.
Uh-oh.
Nothing big.
PBO's in the boxing ring.
For your first jobs, I do like the university spelled out and the GPA. Boomers love that shit, man. Because that's how they compare your first job. After your first job, I don't think it matters. But a lot of times your first job, if they all kind of starting out, they kind of use their GPA to weed them out from top to bottom. And boomers love that summa cum laude.
Look at PBO and his, business side there.
I'm just throwing that out. Because...
Oh, yeah. No, it makes sense. I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
I mean, that depends, too, is kind of what job you're trying to get. But a lot of jobs I've been at, they look at the GPA to kind of weed them out because they don't have a lot of experience. So that's kind of one of the kind of factors they use for that. Now, after your first job, you get 2 or 3 years of experience, right? I think they do that. But for your first job, then I always tell people nobody ever asked what college I went to after my first job or my GPA. But my first job, but I don't know, is that an old thing y'all think, or you think it's outdated for this kind of job market? I guess that's my question.
I think it kind of depends on the company. I think especially in the GRC realm, I think like something like the GPA may hold more credit because, like you said, that business side. Imagine a CIO or CISO or somebody more on the business side or otherwise who probably has an MBA going through and doing that. Like, yeah, they're probably going to care more about that. But if you're applying to a SOC role, that might not coincide as much. But
I think with your first job offer, was I swearing? Is that why Malcolm Zimmerman, was I swearing when I came up? I always swear, but
I don't even know.
I don't think so.
Never mind. I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna drop any MF bombs, but I'm always gonna throw a little cuss word that makes me feel better. But I'm throwing that out to the panel. Like I said, when I used to do that, especially for the entry level people, they use GPAs. And I worked in a Fortune 500 company, and I pushed back. They only looked at Ivy League and Big Ten schools, which I thought was the craziest thing ever.
So, I mean, I could be wrong on the GPA, but I have never in my life heard that. Even from boomers, PBO. You're the first one.
But
I'm new here, so I'm learning.
No, but like you said, it could be the different kind of job. That was kind of a DoD big company type thing. Because when I was at the Fortune 500 pharmaceuticals, they said any job posting they put out, they get 1,000 resumes. So they limited to Big Ten and Ivy. I told them I thought that was elitist, but
well, and like Cam mentions, is it's not going to hurt. Like, yeah.
Shout out to Cam.
I think the only way it would hurt you is if like it's not a good GPA.
And you wouldn't put it on there, but
yeah,
shout out to me. I graduated with 2.75. Shout out to me.
I mean, I'm probably right there with you, PBO.
7.5.
A pass is a pass, right?
I was in there. NBA, I brought it back up 3-2. You need a 3-0 to graduate.
We got you unmuted now.
Yeah, it should be good. I think it comes down to whether it's a corporate or a small team. If you're applying to corporate, you need to get past the HR screener. Right. Everything you can do. I wouldn't put it at the top. It's a little pompous in my opinion. I'd put it towards the bottom. I use my projects and my experience that I've gained and my skill sets to highlight who I am, and then let the computer pick up the rest of that, because that's what HR is going to go through first. And if they've got that set up like PBO said, I think that's what you're going to see.
What should we call you, B, at the bottom? What you want to be called? B, what you want to be called?
It should be Bilbo. I don't know why it didn't work out that way. This is the real Bilbo. I'm trying to get my camera fixed. I just got home after not being home for.
You want to be called the real Bilbo or Bilbo? What you want to be called?
You can call me Bilbo. It's fine.
Okay, Bilbo.
I know I'm real.
I feel you. My only pushback is, if I got a dean listed GPA, I want to be pompous. I want to put it at the top.
Yeah, but I mean, I know what you
said. I know what you said, though.
I have a 3.8 from WGU when I graduate at a pass-fail university. You're not wrong for putting that either. So
facts. So, but like you said, I think it's big company versus small company. You got to kind of read the room, and that's what I was saying. I think large companies like that type of stuff, especially if you're going entry level just from starting, because that's really, if you don't have any experience, that's one way to kind of grade you and weed you out and get to the top. But once again, you still got to get in there and sell yourself, be like B-dubs, be personable with the hat backwards, be loved by the corporation, right? So I think that just gets you in the room. Shout out to the beard game. I like my man Bieber.
There we go. I fixed the camera.
I feel you. Shout out to the beard game. But that's my 2 cents. I'm old and grumpy. Throw it back to me.
And I'd reorganize the skills. It's taken up almost 20% of the page probably, and you've only got one page to work on. So make a table out of it. Get rid of that OSI model. That's trash. TCP is the way you want to go.
Well, and you know what B-Dub says about skills, so.
Yeah, for me, because I'm a curmudgeon, that's white noise almost to me. Because they don't add any context with it. Like the one thing that jumped out on me is he had the HIPAA. What was he had?
I'd put that skills. I'd put like compliance and regulation, and I'd make it into a table, 3-4 columns, and then use each one to put some better information under there as to what
part of HIPAA. Did you do an assessment for HIPAA? Did you help them get certified? It could be easy. I took care of the sanitation, because you got to shred it at a certain volume. So I would add a little more context to that HIPAA standard. Even if he's just trying to weed it in, what did he do for that? Because by interviewing for him, I'm like, okay, secure handling. Once again, what does that mean?
And then that's why I think that you should put your skills, instead of having a list, add them into whether it's your professional experience or your projects, and weave it in there. And that way the hiring manager can understand where you got that skill.
That's where I was going. Take your projects and write up more. We were starting about the same time, B-dubs.
Yep, get rid of that skills section. I hate it.
Well, I like it up there, but what I do is I make sure, turn it to a table so it only takes up 3 or 4 lines, and then take it, and whatever you put up there, you need to have something to expand on in your project or work experience. So instead of just putting secure file management application, expand that to what it is, whatever job title that was for that particular project that you would do, and then expand on what it was, so that I, as the hiring manager, can read it and say, hey, this guy said he stood up a secure file transfer, secure FTP server. He implemented two-factor authentication with it. He used this application. I can kind of see all that from, it doesn't have to be work experience. If you can explain it from a project or lab training experience, I would rather see that, because you pursue that on your own.
Do you think the technical skills is for the ATS? Put it at the bottom. Maybe they're just trying to get to the HR scanner.
Yeah, but if you weave it into your experience and your projects, you're still going to get through. So
good point. That's a good point, B-dubs. Good point.
But
time.
Yeah, so like for me as a hiring manager, I get 5 from HR, and I don't want to interview 5. I don't have time to interview 5. I might pick 2. So I like looking for that technical skills thing, and just to see briefly, do they have what I'm, are they mentioning the skill set that I'm looking for? Yes. And now I'm going to pause on that resume and go a little deeper, because I'm not a computer. I'm going to read those experience lines and see, do they call out those particular skills, and how do they demonstrate their knowledge of those?
In real life, we always took 5, real people. Y'all only taking 2. We at least because we would get like 100, so we would try to get it down to interview 5.
You work for the big boys though, PBO.
That's
Yeah.
true. And they make
30
sure we don't
people.
get sued. They make sure we don't get sued too. So we gonna get a few people. So we have everything covered. So
A lot of times I'm doing the HR part myself, just because we're behind. We're a small company. You know, we have about 30 people. I have 7 people in the help desk SOC side. So
okay.
Yeah, and like B-Dub's already mentioned, like the formatting differences here with the dashes rather than the bulletin points.
Consistency.
And 2, like sales consultant there is italicized, but the rest of them are not italicized. And so just you need consistency in your formatting. Whatever your formatting is going to be, it needs to be that way.
And instead of putting the company in the line above, I put that stuff all together.
Yep.
I'll say company name, comma, position, title, comma, date range. And that's one line. Now what you're trying to condense when you're newer to the field or newer to applying and using the resume, the space isn't as valuable. You don't think of it that way, but really every line on that needs to be a zinger. It needs to really high. You're selling yourself. That's all you're doing. You're writing the perfect sales description for that job for you. And you want to maximize that effect by making the most out of each of those lines.
Yeah. And I was really curious your guys' thoughts on the professional affiliations as well. They mark out the women in cybersecurity and ISC squared.
No, I like that. It goes back to that corporate bro mentality. PBO called it the boomer, but it's more of that frat. You know, if you go to an Ivy League school, you paid to go there, you paid to be, you know, part of a brotherhood, and you're always, it's just part of that ethical platform that they set up. You're always looking for your brother. So if you're in that league of applications, I would definitely get it on there, especially if you're maximizing your white space.
So what you're saying is I need to start adding GRC Mafia to my resumes at the top?
Oh, that's
correct. I would either way.
No, I would not. I think Chris is being blackballed in the industry.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I would either way because it brings intrigue. Somebody's going to ask you, "Hey, what is that all about?" It gives you
careful. Read the room though. Some of your affiliates might not be in line with the corporation you're trying to get with. So I would kind of depending on. I'm sure you're not got. I'm sure you don't belong to any questionable organizations, but in this climate, or just kind of read the room with what organization you pick to the company you're signing up for.
Hey, PBO, it's 10 times worse when I show up to the interview in a trench coat.
There you go. Trench coat mafia.
I almost had you put my little sign up. I was trying to be careful how I word things, but yeah, you got to put it in there.
Hey, I assume it's late enough in the afternoon that there can be a little less filtered.
PBO did not agree to professional affiliations.
I do. It's just some of them you need to be kind of mindful, because I worked in the state. It's very political at the state because whoever gets elected kind of runs out of the state agencies.
That's Game of Thrones, brother.
Facts. You got to bend the knee or be decapitated. Shout out to R Square. We ain't seen her in a minute. Shout out to her. I've been calling her R Square. The other R around the R Square Prime because I think she got you by a couple years, so I had to differentiate y'all.
But it's only a couple though, PBO.
That's why I said couple. I'm not stepping on women's ages in my old. I learned a few things since I got old.
We're basically
you got some
sisters.
hot takes on this one, Rania?
PBO, you didn't get older, you just got wiser.
That is incorrect, man. I'm forgetting stuff. Go ahead, R Square. Jumped on in there. Get on in there on there.
Oh no, I'm good. Let me catch up. I was organizing the house.
Fair enough. We're about to go over to the second resume here. And
Well, then
good
I'll
thing
start there.
you might be forgetting things, PBO, but at least you got it almost all recorded on YouTube now.
There you go. You don't have to remember.
But like you said, Chris, I didn't organize it well. Half the stuff I can't find. I'm like, now what video was that in? I didn't get my tagging right. I didn't get my SEO correct. So I'm struggling.
Control F for the win.
Trying.
All right, so this is a 2-page. One of the first things I wanted to throw out there is like the margin, especially at the top.
There's a lot of white space.
I hate it when it's on the edge, but you could definitely take some of the margins out.
Yeah, throw that in the header. and you're golden. Like it'll auto size. If you want your name to be bigger, go for it. Make it a couple font size bigger, but that usually will all fit in the header. And if it doesn't, you have too much in there.
Yeah, and you don't need to call out your LinkedIn URL either. You don't need to say LinkedIn and then the link because it says it in your URL. That takes up space.
I'm bad about that. I got to type, man. I'm bad.
I mean, it's obvious that that's your LinkedIn.
No, you
They're all the same.
You correct
One
me.
of the things I see missing here is some type of title designation. Like they don't say, ISO lead auditor underneath the name or.
Yeah, I would replace professional summary and add in that job you're looking for.
I think the professional summary needs to just highlight it more. He said he has knowledge of. Did he do an assessment on one? Kind of what's his specialty on one? I would kind of pick one and highlight it. Mm-hmm. And just show him you're a little more knowledgeable.
And I think
general.
I think I got that noise gate right. If I didn't and you guys can hear me typing, just let me know.
I did. I was going to tell you, baby, that sound like you was pounding through the desk player. You're going to need to get on mute. You're going to need to get on mute, man.
Oh, I just fixed the noise gate. It didn't copy over from OBS.
That's all good. I'm old. Little noises bother me, man. I'm almost 60, man. The little noise be. But yeah.
52 myself.
I got you by a decade. You got to catch up, man, almost.
Yeah, and this summary kind of confuses me a little bit because they started out saying GRC focused professional with 6+ years of experience embedding compliance and risk controls. And then at the bottom of it, it states seeking to apply these skills in cybersecurity and GRC rules to drive organizational resilience and compliance, which just kind of sounds to me like they're trying to get into GRC.
Yeah, that's why I think he should say these are the things I've done. So when I say that, these are the things I'm good at. That's why you need to hire me because I'm great.
Yeah.
Shout out to me.
And then if they do have experience, instead of saying knowledgeable, maybe experience in ISO, CSF, CIS.
Yeah, knowledgeable means to me you're at the surface. If you got 6+ years, you need to be digging in a little deeper.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. And looking at, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, when it's all redacted out, but.
I got the public sector program. I like the program coordinator. Okay, I like the 200%, getting our star in there.
Organizational communication.
I hate that. I shouldn't have said that out loud, but.
Hold on. We got a thing for this, though.
No disrespect. No disrespect.
And I got to throw this one up too.
Facts.
I think these are too long. So, or at least narrow a couple of them down.
If they expanded their margins or made the margins smaller, it would go into 2 lines and then they wouldn't seem as long.
And I think that's a 14-point font, probably.
Yeah, it's pretty
maybe bigger, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it could be 11. It shouldn't be any bigger than 12. I mean, 12 is kind of pushing it.
Damn, real people. I'm gonna have to get out a magnifying glass. We go down to 12.
I mean, everyone's using 24-inch monitors. Like,
good
you
point.
should be able to read it. If not, then I can get you hooked up with Lens Crafters PBO.
I need some. I got great. I got great vision. I haven't went to get my glasses yet though.
I think you're outnumbered on the glasses. So
facts, man. I need to upgrade. Shout out to R Square with the nice glasses.
Zinni.
And the other thing I'd say is
glasses, PBO. I just don't wear them on stream.
A couple of things. I got to find it and I can share it. I have a 6-step prompt I built for Gemini and ChatGPT to take any existing resume and help you clean it up. If you haven't taken and run your professional experience or any of your summary stuff through ChatGPT with some pre-texting about the job field you're trying to break into at a minimum, I recommend you go job by job. The prompt I'll post later is going to get you job by job. Step 1, it asks you to give the current resume. Step 2, it asks you to give the job posting. Step 3, it asks you to read it over and validate kind of where it's going with it. And then it starts producing some new bullet points and new resume stuff for you. So it's kind of helpful.
But I'm worried about my privacy.
So spin up a GPT in your own environment. There's plenty of LLMs you can throw it into. It's nothing advanced to what it's doing.
Or just redact what you give it. Right?
Yeah, that's what I do. I take when I run it through, I mean, who cares about where I've worked? It's already on my LinkedIn. So
you should do a video on that.
It's one of the ones that I had on the list to do, and I actually should probably do it sooner than later, and I could. So what I would do on these, even if you didn't want to do that, just one by one, say, hey, I'm applying for a job. Here's the job. And here's my first, professional experience bullet. Here's my job title. And here's the 5 bullets I had, and paste them in. Please give me a more concise, meaningful bullet point for each item for the current posting that I gave you, or something to that effect. Even just something that primitive, and then read it. Obviously, take away the M dashes. There's some things that are telltale signs that obviously it was automated, but if you read it over and don't tweak it too much, you're going to get a better product, I think.
Yeah, and in one of the previous, I think it might have been the last job readiness session, we also shared a GPT for helping you take the different bulletin points on your resume and turning it into STAR method. So,
send me that, and I'll work that into the video.
Yeah,
too.
I can pull it up here in a moment and drop the link for it. I was also going to ask you guys, what do you guys think about this particular bulletin point I've highlighted? So, scaled the program by 200%, expanding from a single staff operation to a 3-member team through strategic development, stakeholder engagement, and successful funding proposals.
The math doesn't add up first.
Yeah.
Scale the program by 200%. You added 200% to the program, maybe. It's kind of trying to be nice here and figure out how to say it.
I get it. Yeah.
It's just
I wanted to mention it because it doesn't feel. I probably wouldn't put that on there. I would try to find something better.
Well,
and maybe,
I just want to say WTF doesn't mean.
Yeah.
It starts off by I'm expanding the team, and then I don't understand anything after that.
Yeah, and my one thought is maybe that 200% is talking about the funding, because they say successful funding proposals. So maybe it's not talking about people, maybe it's talking about budget.
Good catch.
But still, it's not very clear in what was scaled by 200%.
I think that's what I mean by it. Like, it's foggy.
The cost.
Yeah. What is this?
I feel like they're tying in the program coordinator for a workforce program. So they're assuming that someone's going to connect the dots with that title up top, because it's probably a workforce program that they scaled by 200%. So they were able to fund more people or whatever. Maybe it was getting people into jobs. Maybe it was offering like workforce development courses and just expanding it to 200% more people. But look
at R-squared breaking English down for us.
A decent bullet, but yeah, they could definitely word it a little better to be more concise and targeted to what they actually did, so people don't have to infer what they mean.
Yeah, and I'm just a help desk, knuckle dragging help desk manager. That's all I am. So I don't know anything about that stuff. So
clarify that.
These are the next 2 sections on here. So patient services supervisor, and then community leadership, that they have a few different things listed under.
Well, the first thing I'm going to go back to now is, I think in the beginning it said 6 years of experience. We're back to 2014, and last time I checked it was 2025. So isn't that 11 years total? Like, the numbers aren't all adding up. So did we, like, the flags that I would have for this, and I'm not saying it would happen, but if I'm reading this as a hiring manager, go to the top for me. Is this the one?
And I think that they're only referencing this. They're trying to account this program coordinator as that 6 years of experience.
But I don't have time to figure that out. I'm
Yeah.
looking for reasons. So the thing you have to remember when you're writing your resume is whoever's looking at it is looking for reasons to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So if I look and I see 6+, well, it says 6+, so I probably would look a little bit deeper. But again, they're going to look for reasons to get rid of it.
Do you look reasons to get rid of people, or do you bring them in an interview to talk to them about it to get rid of them?
I want to, before I bring in the interview, I've got to narrow the pool. If I got 1,000 people applying for 2 positions, I can't bring in 20 people to figure out if I got the right. I'm trying to get through HR. I want them to bring me, maybe 5 per position. So I might talk to 10 people on the phone.
Okay.
But when I get those 10, I'm looking to get rid of probably half of them.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not looking to, but if there's something that doesn't add up to me right out the gate, it's just, it's too risky. And there's so many applications coming in that.
No, that's 100%. You don't have to explain. That makes perfect sense. Like you said, you're trying to get them down to a reasonable number.
I'm more explaining it for folks, I guess. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense. I'm thinking me and you having a private conversation. PBO's good.
PBO's good.
It's all about me. Shout out to me. Shout out to me.
Yeah.
We love you, PBO.
It looks to me like they're trying to take some of the skills and some of the stuff that they did with this program coordinator and associate that to the cybersecurity and GRC.
Yep.
But it doesn't look like.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. They're trying to fluff it up a little bit. I see them working. If it was an entry level, I probably would like maybe once they clean that up, I might give them a conversation, especially if it was a HIPAA standard.
Yeah. I mean, at least they're using metrics. I mean, that's better than most.
Yeah, I like them using.
I love numbers.
I think the one thing I would say is they have great metrics, but where's the why? Like the reason these metrics are important. All of their bullets have most of the star, but they're just missing like, why is this important to that position? Like the result. What did it really actually do?
They're trying though. Like that's the one
they are trying.
You were breaking down that 200% one. That's what they were trying to do there. Just gotta get it more succinct.
And I know for sure I struggled with trying to put metrics into my resume. It was a tough love scenario. I had to have someone sit me down and say, stop complaining, stop giving excuses, just pull some metrics out of your butt and get them in there.
Okay.
Well, and that's some stuff that you could use, the bot for, here's honest metrics that I've done. If you work on a help desk, I've worked there for 3 years and I'm always closing 99% of my tickets within the SLA. Like that is a given known fact. You can back up, you could prove. So those are things that you could pretext in and say, hey, make sure anytime you give a metric, you also tie it to the why, and if I haven't clarified that, ask me more information to get the why.
Facts.
Yep.
Like the
system hardening using STIGs.
Shout out to that. I saw that.
Use language now.
Yeah, but he needs to be real careful because when you STIG, I'm about to go deep. I don't know if you got to go deep.
Going the whole 9 yards.
I'm going deep. That's how you start talking about the STIGs and hardening. You need to be ready for that. Shout out to the poem.
And this is Try Hack Me learning. So
I saw that.
Better remember that. Remember your STIGs.
And you could also tie in, the why to it at the end there, hardening using STIGs effectively. And then
to prevent this or to
what was the number one
scenario.
Like the biggest take home you got out of that to effectively boom.
Yeah. And that too is your STIG's gonna make you compliant for your NIST 800-53 or FedRAMP. So that's kind of your why too. That's why I'm STIGing, because we're trying to be HIPAA or high trust or some approved or assessed. I was surprised when I saw that in Try Hack Me. I'm like, it's been a while since I've done a Try Hack Me.
Yeah, I haven't been back to the platform or reviewed that yet, but I probably should. But So they're listing all of this stuff on here, but they're not looking at being completed until October.
So I would take that expected completion and in progress off because it doesn't matter. And then add the bullet points that you have completed.
Exactly.
And then keep adding as you go on, because right
Yeah.
now it looks like, okay, well, that's what you are learning, but you haven't learned any of that yet.
This is
It's
the
in
way.
progress.
This is the way. I love that. This is the way.
And then also after that's done, considering the fact I think that they don't really have that much hands-on actual experience, maybe some relatable skills, but you know, you can move some of the projects you complete to the top, like list 2 or 3 of those projects up here.
Hater Chris.
I mean,
Nah,
we've seen quite a few of these different resumes and so forth.
I gotta pick on you. Hater Chris, stop just
Hey, there's a reason I didn't get my resume completed this time around. PBO was coming in hot.
No, I liked it. It was just and shout
I
out
liked it.
B-Dubs, her format's a lot better than mine. I need to pay more attention to that.
We have a 25-minute rant from you about my resume, PBO.
That's because I love you.
I don't think you have to even have an account on the WGU website, but if you go to like the WGU, you just search WGU career and then resume template. They have a ton for every kind of job you could think of out there. And they have some really good templates in my mind that maximize the space. They shrink the margins, but they don't do it as much. I'm not pumping up WGU. It's a free thing. Don't pay anything for it. You get it for free. So I believe in R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Fast. I'm a big WGU fan though. So
yeah, I'm not fanning for them or fanning against them. I'm just saying that they offer a resource that you can grab for free that would help you modernize your formatting on everyone. Like there's a couple different formats that they recommend, and if they're the ones teaching it, as the HR managers are coming out of those universities, so that's what they're going to be looking for.
And I do kind of feel like if they maybe condensed a few of these down and changed that font, moved the margins, they probably could almost fit
single
this in
page.
one page.
Yeah.
Oh, that surely would fit on one page.
That is 100% one page material.
If they change your margins up, like 3/8 inch margins.
Well, even just reorganizing it, taking the extra line spaces out. You don't need a line under community leadership.
Yep.
Shift return that thing and bring it right up under there. And same thing with each new section. Again, the white space is wasted advertising. If you were paying for a billboard on the side of the highway to advertise yourself, you would want it to get all the information you could and use all the space edge to edge. Think of your resume as the same way. You wouldn't go edge to edge per se. You'd leave a framing of some kind and keep that in mind and run with it that way. The more you can get on there and to sell yourself, the better you're doing yourself for not only the human eye, but also the robot.
I got a personal question to ask the panel. A lot of times they ask for websites. Sometimes I put them in my YouTube channel. Is that appropriate or inappropriate?
I would put it. Why not?
I don't know. I'm asking the panel. Sometimes I gotta make sure I'm not going hot up in the video.
I would put
I was
it.
going to say, from a non-biased standpoint, I would say yes. But knowing you, I'm not sure. I would double check the video first.
So the cool thing is my videos are long. We usually don't get hot till about an hour and 15 minutes. I don't think anybody's gonna watch it that long. But go ahead. I was just
Keep your fingers crossed.
Well, I would put it because of the content that you have on your YouTube. Now, if you're somebody that has a YouTube channel that doesn't have, professional content on there, I would not put it for sure. But
Facts.
Because usually I have
even
a
if you
video for the job title. If it's threat modeling or FedRAMP or whatever I'm going from this, I usually have a couple videos.
But if you do the video, like you don't even have to publish it. Like you can make them all private. And I encourage people to do that. Like watch Jerry's videos, watch Chris's videos, B-Dubs, PBOs. I got some coming out really soon. Watch them and then go make your own version of that.
Nice.
Redo what you're being shown. If you watch Tyler's hacking video, write your notes down and go see if you can repeat it. You got a video to go back and help you later, and then make your own video so that they can see what you're doing. It's not just helpful to see that you actually did it. If you watch enough videos, I can start to get a understanding of how you think through things, the way you go about things. It's so much more, and people will do that if you take the time, in your interview or whatever. You say, yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, I don't publish anything, but I kind of use it to document what I've learned. They're going to say, oh, tell me more. And you're like, well, I could share some of those videos with you and have 3 or 4 that you already know are going to pertain to the job in your back pocket and go right to them. Here, let me go to my phone. I'll text them to you right now. What's your numbers? Boom. And they can watch them either while you're in the interview or later. And then they'll dive deeper in. Maybe you invite them and unlock all of them if you're okay with that. And then they can explore. You get to see what they're looking at. That's the very cool part. You can see those views going up, and you already know you gave someone new access to it. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and Simply Cyber Academy, Jerry's actually doing this next week. So June 2nd, they have the dates down below here. But this covers all of that stuff as well. So it might be worth taking a look at. So June 2nd to the 5th.
Beat me to it.
Cohort.
I was about to plug it.
Yeah.
How much?
I think it's only like $450 or so. I think I'm already signed in. So
I can't believe you just said just.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're usually pretty frugal,
just
sir.
Just scan the card.
You're pretty frugal, sir. I've never heard you just say just and anything over 100.
I don't
I'm
remember
that, rhetorically.
Facts.
Yeah. And I don't remember because I took it in the inaugural edition, so it was discounted. And then if I retake it, I get a discount too. But it's on the site. Sign up for it. It's where I'll tell you 100% it's worth it. Jerry takes 4 days of his time, answers all the questions, and he's available to you after the class. So you're getting, basically a college level weekend cohort, in a 4-day compact period. So, and you'll learn things for sure.
I think it is valuable and so forth. Especially I've gone through it twice now. Soon, I mean, here in a moment, 3 times now. Definitely some good takeaways and so forth. And I paid out of pocket the first 2 times. I'm going to pay for this one too.
I don't think it's $450. I can't remember what it is.
No, I have it up now. I had to open it up in a privacy window so it showed me the price. It's $200.
That's what I thought, $199 or something like that.
Yeah, but that's also where I was going to say is this also depends on the person as well. Like,
if you're going to do something with it. Yeah, it's not just a class to take because you want to take a class with Jerry. He's got plenty of other ones. If you want to build a brand, or if you're kind of hung up in your job search and you're doing learning and you think it would be valuable to have something like that, you'll get the return on value.
Yeah, the biggest issue I've seen is people going through, they haven't done anything to build a brand yet, and then they still don't. So they take the course, they're all hyped, but then nothing comes of it because they never did anything prior. They saw the course and they were like, oh, this would be neat. That's what I should do. And then they just don't have that follow through on it.
That's most people.
But then
that was me. I had to take it a second time. I took it the first time and I was like, well, that was cool. And then 6 months later, hadn't done anything. I have a channel. It's out there. It's just not published.
Publish it, man. What's tying you up, man?
I've had some. I don't want to get into the personal side of things, but I had some stuff delay me, and so I'm working on that. And I'm about to not be employed anymore, so I'll have a lot more time to do that. So.
Good luck with that, man. It's hard.
It's by choice.
Okay. Shout out to you.
Yeah. And what I was going to say here too is that I think the primary benefit with this is if you already have started something and you want to get better at it. And you want to get those tips and tricks and get that direct access to, because I was going into it already doing the YouTube channel with Study GRC, and I was asking the hard questions. I was like, yeah, I get that, Jerry, but no, I want to know about this.
I think B-Dubs is in the same boat. She had her channel going and all that. So
I took this in January and got a lot of value from it. But I had already started my blog. I had already been working on some of these things. What I didn't have was the YouTube channel. And it's really helped me in building that and doing it correctly from the beginning. And so, yeah. And
you don't need that. Let me be clear. If you just want to have a YouTube channel to give private links out, you don't need any of that stuff. You don't need the brand is you doing what you're doing. You're not trying to like do lives or have a weekly video release or something like that. But if you're looking to be, you know, move into that entrepreneur world, maybe subsidize your income, you know, with a secondary thing, something like, it's not all about money, but you're going to get some type of monetization.
Shout out to the doggies.
Yeah, the Amazon guy's here, and they want to make sure I don't know
gosh.
that he's not here. Yeah.
Shout out to the dogs. You think it would help me, Chris, if I took it?
Hey, I gotta bounce, guys. I don't know if anyone knows the Savannah Bananas. They're in town tonight, and we won one of the lottery spaces to get the tickets. It's super hard. If you haven't seen them, check it out. It's an incredible story of entrepreneurship. Guy starts basically the Globetrotters for the Major League Baseball, and it's super entertaining, and it's just
Very
amazing.
funny.
It's an amazing entrepreneur story too. Like the guy was a millionaire, sold everything, was sleeping on an air mattress in a stadium he bought in Atlanta while rats were crawling over him and his wife at his lowest point. So, and now he's like superstar. So,
shout out to her.
We're headed out there, and you guys have a good night. I'll see everyone on the daily cyber threat brief tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Later.
Thanks.
Good night.
Was there any other things on this particular resume? And then we have 2 more.
No, I'm good with that. You think that course will help me, Chris? You think I should take it?
I don't know, PVO. I don't know.
PBO, stop stacking things on your plate, bro.
PBO,
don't you have a course you're supposed to update?
Yeah,
you gotta have follow through, PBO.
I always follow through.
You gotta take the course and then do it, and not be working on it for 3 years, PBO.
Nah.
CISSP.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the knowledge is the difficult part for you, PBO. I think the workflow is the difficult part for you. Like, instead of being like, oh yeah, I got to schedule the video for tomorrow, it should be like, oh, Friday after work, I scheduled the video.
Yeah, I do be procrastinating on my video.
I think
video
your issue is
scheduling.
workflow.
Facts, man. Facts.
That's the same thing with titles and descriptions for your videos. That's something you could very easily leverage AI for to make that better.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's what we do after the live streams. We're using AI for transcription so we could do the chapters and everything else post live stream. So
that sounds like too much work.
It's literally downloading the video, upload, copy, and paste.
It takes 5 minutes, PBO.
I
wouldn't say it takes 5. I mean, it's mostly sitting around and waiting for it to process, but yeah.
If you're B-dubs, it takes 5 minutes.
Shout out to B-dubs.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit longer for Chris.
Yeah, right. One of the things I was going to mention here too is that they do mention the 27001 lead auditor role or the certification here. That I personally find questionable, just because you do have to actually be engaged and complete at least an audit and have work experience behind that as well. And I don't really see that with these previous roles here. What this looks like is they took a course that called it a certification, is what it looks like to me.
It may have been a
But
certificate.
that could be.
And there is a difference, a big difference between certificates and certifications.
Well, and we'll talk about this later too, but there are programs out there that say, hey, you take our course and you get certified as a lead auditor, but it's not an actual certification.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an accredited one from ISO.
So it's like you're getting a certificate to go take the test. Is it a test to be a lead auditor?
Yeah, so there's a whole process. Chris H, who's in chat, talked about it during his whole presentation about it, on the fact that like you have to have I think it's over 1 year of experience, and then you also have to have submitted at least 1 or 2 different audits, like from start to finish, in order to qualify for the lead auditor role.
I don't think
or you had to work on the audits themselves to some degree. So
I've done that. I don't know if I've ever done one from start to finish, because I work on big teams. So
yeah, but that's just like one of the little things. Like I they'd have to be looking for that, to be honest. Now this one, B-dubs, it is 1 page.
Boo.
I mean, they must have listened to you.
Must have, but there's no separation either.
Run it together.
It all blends together.
Oh, boo. Okay.
So I don't like that from a person.
Hey, that person. We see you. Hey, that person. But they got your Gmail, LinkedIn, and all in one line. I kind of like that.
Mhm.
Ooh, like the security clearance, secret and public trust. I might put that behind the name, actually.
For which one?
The secret
For
and
the
public
secret?
trust. Yeah, like it's the credentials, like it's an MBA, because those are super coveted. Those are super.
Correct.
Those are
Yeah,
super.
I would agree with that. Yeah, put it at the very top.
Especially the
and that would
secret.
save some space here too, because
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing here that I think everybody's going to agree on is the formatting is horrid.
Yeah, needs to tighten that up. I like
That's
the
so difficult.
It almost gives me like federal resume vibes with the newer formats.
facts. Now you bring that up. To me, it looks like something I did in 2005. I kind of changed it.
Well, and some of the bullet points, a lot of the bullet points are 3 lines long. So you condense those down into 2 lines and you're going to gain a lot more space. And you don't have to have like line separators, but you definitely need like a white space above professional summary and above experience to kind of separate those out.
Is this a very common thing too? SOC analyst and business development consultant for a small MSSP?
Well, if they're small, sometimes you wear multiple hats.
Yeah, a lot of times I see small MSPs, if you got SOC experience, they want you to tell them who their past customers are. That pisses me off. I have a lot of people ask me that. I'm like, if I'm gonna sell you my customers, player, you gotta pay me. But I wouldn't see it a lot, but I get reached out about once a quarter. People asking me to do, which I hate, and I usually just block them.
And all of this random bolding, like the Sec Plus is bolded.
Yeah.
Some of the other keywords and so forth are bolded out.
I
don't think any of that's really necessary.
What you think about building a brand in there as part of the SOC? Is he building a brand for him or for the company? Okay. I don't know if I like that there.
That
For
falls under
marketing
their
visibility.
business development consultant, I guess.
I guess it depends on what job I'm going for. Because if I got a secret clearance, I'm not doing that. But
yeah,
I don't like that commingling there. But once again, I'm a curmudgeon. If I got a secret clearance, I'm
I
not.
would have broke it into 2 different positions. Like even if you're doing it for the same small business, I would have broke it out and given better, like more detailed bullets on the SOC analyst position. You could keep it under the same like title, just break it into a separate position.
But CPBO, this is a small MSSP. There may be 5 people working there.
Oh, that's a good point. I probably would put that down under like extra, or I'm trying to figure out. I wouldn't put that under my job experience, maybe. But
if they're doing it as like a 1099, like single person, they're not working for the company. Maybe they're working. Again, it says consultant. They're selling their services to this business.
For me, and like you said, of course, y'all can disagree with me. I'm focusing on my SOC skills, not my multimedia skills. I would put that down under extra or project level type stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking. I feel like that's diluting my skill set, right?
Yeah, well, and if you look at their professional summary too, they mention advancing federal risk reduction through automation, vulnerability intelligence, and security operations.
Facts.
And then at the very end, they say strengthening the security posture of critical infrastructure systems. And nowhere does it really outline exactly what they're going for. Maybe they left it broad on purpose, but none of that seems to really relate with marketing and branding.
Yeah, so
it's cool. And I don't see any SOC analyst experience in those bullet points there at that first one. There's only 2 bullet points for your most recent experience, and I mean, I guess they just started in April 2025, but
no, I agree. I think B-Dub's correct. I just didn't know how to explain that. Yeah, to me, I would focus more on the SOC analyst.
Yeah.
So the way I read it, because it runs concurrent to their time as a vuln analyst for that large consulting firm entry as well, it makes me think the SOC analyst role was a side gig, because they're not getting their clearances from that small MSSP.
Facts.
So that whatever consulting firm that was that they were working with, that's their primary gig, and the SOC analyst is just something they're doing on the side, it looks like. At least that's how I would interpret it if I was looking at it as a HR or hiring manager.
No, you're correct. I didn't see the overlapping dates. So I would put contract assignment up there to kind of differentiate those. To me, I'm like, how you working 40 hours? But yeah, I think you're correct on that. I would differentiate that with because he has a consultant up there highlighted. So
yeah,
I would just kind of make it stand out a little bit more.
He's just doing the grind.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, I just don't think it's really relevant. But as far as branding and marketing, but I probably wouldn't have it at the top, at least maybe as a project or something. But
specialized skills at the bottom. No, he's correct, because that's the stage you're gonna need to do. Have your clearance, your secret clearance, to do that type of work.
Yeah, it just says large consulting firm. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I think it was Deloitte who ended up just getting rid of like 1,500 people or something.
Yeah, but how many employees what did Deloitte got? 50,000 employees? I mean, they had a crazy amount. What they got?
I think it's like 20K.
Okay. So
what is
that?
They got rid of like 10% or 12% or something of along those lines of their workforce.
Everybody's doing it.
It was almost all their offensive consultants as well.
Facts. Shout out Red Team. No disrespect.
Oh God.
The Sci-Hi is God in here.
Shout out to Sci-Hi. But yeah, let's see.
This is why it's tough to keep it one page, but explanation of what you did is always important. Yeah, I think that's also a skill. Like a lot of people, including myself, has noticed like, oh, you do all this upskilling and so forth, but then you also have to upskill on interviewing and creating a resume and so forth as well. And that's skills on its own. Just like writing a resume and, putting it on paper that looks professional and explaining what your value is.
Absolutely. Especially if you're trying to like keep pace with where you're currently at and not let your profiles and your resume lag behind by, a year and a half, like a certain someone we know.
Facts.
I mean, it seems to me like they'd probably be going federal with this, probably.
Yeah,
but
I would.
Yeah.
Well, I do a lot of commercial jobs that do Fed work, so it kind of overlaps like that. I would put that at the bottom,
space at least.
Yeah, I would put that at the bottom.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
The adjunct instructor, I would put at the bottom.
Yeah, there's like several different ones here.
Yeah, I probably would separate this somehow.
For their copyrighted cybersecurity community.
No, I think he's naming a company, I think. So I think that's why he kind of redacted it. I'm guessing.
I see.
Ocean Research. He's got some cool stuff in here, though.
Started, 2014 mobile device sales manager.
I would take that off. Well, let's see
it
what
was
he's got
until
done.
January of 29, but I would agree. I mean, still
off.
This other position here is 6 years, so.
But it still is 2021. He's got overlap, so I might certify out the page. I probably would take that off. How many years of experience he got? Over 5? Yeah.
Yeah. Over 5.
Yeah.
I would take those bottom 2 off. Give me more space. And to be honest, when I look at it, I wouldn't even care about those.
I mean, definitely work with the formatting, but take the bottom 2 off and then maybe add some projects.
Yeah.
Or even beef up some of these other positions with more bullet points, better targeted bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
Build a home lab and throw it on the resume.
Yeah, I just haven't found a really good walkthrough for home labs, so.
Yeah,
I know I've been looking for one too.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, If you got more
I'll
than
do one
5
one
years,
day.
I'm not gonna look at your home labs. But I don't know, because to me, you in the meat of it now. Home labs to me is if you starting out. If you got 5 years, I'm trying to say you got 5 years, you want X amount of money. What real work experience did you did? Now, if you've got a couple years, I don't know. I'll let y'all chime in on that. PBO could be being mean on that.
So for me, so the home labs, if you're at 5-6 years of experience already, I wouldn't be looking seriously at home lab experience that is along the same line of what you're currently doing. But if you've also got home labs in other sectors or other aspects of cybersecurity to help just broaden your skill horizon, I would definitely take that into consideration, if that makes sense.
It does. PBO was going to throw it in a circular file, but I get what you're saying. Because for me, I need to see that you done it. Because 5 years, you're not entry level. But I get what you're saying. I do it, like you said, if I'm labbing, I don't know. I put it on there like I'm doing it for real. But I don't know.
Right.
That's probably not appropriate either. I want Chris to put me on the bad boy list. Shout out to me.
So to give a more direct example, for example, here, they've got a little over 3 years of experience just as a vulnerability analyst for this large consulting firm. And so a home lab idea that would be a good tie-in would be to build their own offensive lab to give them the option of getting the experience of setting up and pulling the trigger on actually exploiting all of these vulnerabilities, so that they get the experience on both sides of that coin. Because you're going to be able to analyze better what you understand how it works.
By attacking. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So something like that. But I wouldn't recommend that they build a vulnerability analysis home lab for sure. That's not what I would do.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, I think even a more senior role could benefit from home labbing as well. I mean, what if you're going into a position with a particular tool that you haven't professionally worked with? So,
yeah, absolutely. That's why I run mine. I've got several different home labs going.
I definitely kind of fall with PBO though. Like, if you already have several years of experience, like show that on your resume as the top. And if you got space to fill, maybe toss that in. If you can tie in relevance, maybe you're switching to a different area of cyber, or GRC or whatever. But if you already have the experience and you can show it and talk about yourself and sell yourself in that resume, don't waste the real estate.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, and so it looks like the formatting is a primary issue. Right. Go through and beef up the bulletin points and make that improved. Get all that bolding figured out. Move the secret public trust after the last name there.
Scroll down real quick, Chris, at the bottom.
I'm going to say one thing about the bolding is I sat through some federal, like military spouse and just federal resume things a few years back. And their big thing was bolding because it draws your eye there to like, oh, boom, 3 to 5 intelligence briefings, cybersecurity community platform, OSINT research. Like they're trying to guide where your eye is so that you can jump through the resume real quick.
Yeah.
But it was definitely like a niche thing. I put it into my resume because that's what the thing was at that point in time. Didn't help at all. So
yeah, you also got to be careful with doing it too much.
Yeah, because then you just get lost. And there is, I think, too much here. Like maybe using italics on some of the numbers to pull your eye there, but they already have the dates italicized. So then you're giving your eye too much to jump to.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I would, especially from a niche perspective, look for some niche jobs. That's really what I apply for. Because I had the 853 map into some stuff and STIG. And so for me, that's definitely a federal spot. So you go to NIST, risk assessments, CMMC, because it's a subset of 800-53. So that's from that resume. That's what I'll be focused, because that's what I usually focus on. Just kind of looking at, if you do NIST, there's a ton of NIST jobs on Indeed, and LinkedIn has a ton of NIST jobs. So I usually try to apply to 3 jobs every day when I was looking, and I try to do 1 interview every 6 months to keep me nimble in the interview area.
I will give them kudos for spelling out everything and putting the acronym, because acronyms drive me crazy.
I think at R-Square, I do that a little differently. I agree with you, but when you apply for senior jobs, we just talk acronyms. So a lot of times they want to see it.
True, but typically the resumes we're looking at aren't senior level positions.
Point taken.
Also, if you're just throwing acronyms, you have a lesser chance of getting through the HR firewall.
Yeah, because HR doesn't know what that is. Like, a lot of times the hiring managers give a full name list, like, hey, it needs to have these keywords. If you see those, pull it. Because that was one thing with my position that I got in the last 6 months, was the HR, she had no idea what she was hiring for. She straight up told me, she's like, yeah, I don't really know anything about this, but the hiring manager wanted to see your resume, wanted me to talk to you. So
That's a good point.
You know, she didn't know. She passed it on. Hey, what do you think of this one? We got a resume in. And it was just because it was a low volume of applications for that position. That's the only reason I got handed off directly to the hiring manager.
A lot of times it's timing. A lot of times I tell people, you could be the bee's knees, but if somebody's the bee's knees +1, right, it's just not your time. A lot of it's timing. Ooh.
And then this is the last one that we have here.
PCI compliance. Ooh. Where's my man at, man? Jaime. We need Jaime up in the house, man.
So this is one of those uniquely formatted ones where it has the 2 columns.
Boo.
Separated
Yeah, get
down,
rid of the columns.
Yeah, boo.
No, like,
well, one of the big things I noticed is that this was a Word doc. I opened it up in Word, and it's still, like, the formatting's all screwed. So
sometimes ATS don't pick up those columns too. You gotta be careful when you do stuff like that. So
that's a resume that got generated by, I think, Zeddy.
Yeah, I think this is a bad format to run with. But
I reviewed someone's resume on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago, and they were rocking the 2-column format like that too. And I was like, you know, you can keep it if you want, but personal opinion, drop it. I don't think it's going to help you with ATS.
Facts.
Another thing I noticed here is they kind of seem to talk in third party, and then they move to first party.
Yeah, I'm bad about that. Facts.
So deep expertise in PCI 3.2.1. Is there a purpose to clarify the version?
I think so in PCI. I think though. Oh, well, now let me let B-Dubs. I'm on B-Dubs' toes. I'm gonna step back. B-Dubs, chime in on that.
I mean, I don't think it's necessary to clarify the 3.2.1, but I could see clarifying the version 4, because maybe your experience is older, and I think it would be assumed that you would know the older versions. But having that 4.0.1, I think it's not going to hurt you. But that could clarify that you're up to date on PCI as well as having experience in it. So
maybe deep expertise in PCI DSS, including 4.0.1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also ding them points for not having PCI DSS version 5 listed though.
Facts.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, that's a good point. That's good. 5 is out.
Well, I heard they were working on version 6 now too.
I don't know what the hell this certification is.
So
PCIP?
that is a PCI certification. It's a PCI professional. And it is very expensive, but that's the one that travels with you. That's not the other one. I forget what it's called. Yeah. That one anybody can get. So
Okay. Shout out to the NIST CSF. And
but I would I would spell that out and then put the acronym in parentheses because
Facts.
nobody outside of PCI is going to know what the heck that is.
Facts.
Just like here, nobody knew except for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was something else. I thought it was a privacy cert. I was messing it up.
No, that's PCI.
Shout out
And
to
I do have to say, we have so many certifications and certifying authorities that spell those certifications out. Just do it. The acronyms can get so confusing, especially if there's a similar certification in one field to another and they're completely different, but they have the same name when you spell it with letters instead of its actual name.
Facts. They got a lot of standards in there and governance.
Yeah. Also, I noticed they don't have their LinkedIn, at least not up at the top there.
It's at the bottom.
Maybe
I'm
a
making that
highlights section led multiple PCI specific internal assessments, including gap, roadmap, and full SAQ submissions.
I would put it at the top with the rest of it, but
Scroll back up, Chris. I mean, I would just tie it into the summary. They already have most of it in there.
facts.
No point in saying it twice. Now, if there was something specific that they could highlight within a position, just make it a bullet under one of your work experience positions. Like expand it out and tell about why you led that cross-functional team, or like give it a little more validity than just a random section of highlights that don't tie to anything.
Facts.
I find it kind of odd how they have the core skills on the left-hand side and how they have that organized too. Like what they have under governance. And
I don't like it.
no, I don't like it either. I think it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, it's
And what that makes me think of is just trying to get ATS keywords, because
Yeah.
is Wireshark in map, are those relevant to a GRC job?
No.
And UpGuard is a tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's an actual platform.
You're right. That's ATS. So I will put it at the bottom.
Or don't even put it. Like, is it relevant to the job you're applying for?
No, it's
I
not.
feel like we haven't talked about relevancy in these resumes this time around, but that's one of the big hypes we always talk about. If it's in there, it needs to be relevant to what you're applying for. If it doesn't help you, like it's not in the job description as a required or a must-have or a like-to-have by that company, what's the point of giving it real estate on your resume?
Yeah, there's two different things there. I mean, of course, you could try to integrate that with some of the experience bulletin points if possible, but also, like, I've talked to quite a few different people who scored interviews, but then the interview is like significantly different from the job description. So
that was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that as much anymore, but
these people starting over, going from aircraft maintenance into system administration. My job description was completely different from the job I do now.
That's okay. I went straight from driving a tow truck for like 6 years into being a sysadmin, so I feel you.
And then OG Locke mentions, if you major in communications and minor in cybersecurity at college, do you think that will be enough to secure a job in GRC? I'm personally gonna outright say no. That's not gonna just immediately be able to secure you a position.
I'm giggling, Chris. It depends on what's your other job relevancy to go with that. Do you have any background, or is it Is that
Your
what?
degree alone is not going to guarantee you a job
Yeah,
at all.
Right.
How I think Brexy said, how you phrase your resume, how you show relevant skills from college to what you're applying for, that can definitely help you. Like if there's something in your communications major that breached into GRC or some type of GRC framework or something you can tie into a position you're applying for, then yes, it can definitely help you. But you need to put those bullets under your degree and show that you learned it and how you implemented it, something other than just, I learned PCI DSS. Like,
Right.
okay, cool. Anyone can go read about it, but can you use it? Can you implement it? Can you, like, what do you need to do in PCI DSS in a GRC position?
I'll take it a step further and say just going off of the major in comms and minor in cyber, I think that blend would position you well to start training yourself into something like a disaster, like a business continuity specialist or something of that
Absolutely.
nature. I think that would work really, really well.
No, I used to do that for part of my job. So no, that because you got to communicate. Most of it, all of it's communication.
Right, exactly. You're less heavy on the technical side, but having those communication chops would definitely help out.
Yeah, because really you're communicating with all the other teams and their
Yeah, and
their RPO, RTO.
I think
Yeah,
that
and
was
pretty
in
much what it
regards to what Brexy said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just gonna kind of recap on the fact that, like, yeah, that could probably be a benefit. But if that's the only thing you've got, then it's probably still going to be a challenge.
Yeah, just tie in soft skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said disaster recovery, Coop. I would go more for PMing, to be honest. Because there's always project management, anything we do in cybersecurity. And we were talking today, a lot of those, shout out to IT, we have a hard time communicating.
Well, and with communication and cybersecurity minor, you could also be looking at like awareness trainings and stuff like that too.
But what kind of communication? Because you can do business communications. Part of my business degree was business infrastructure and communication systems, like how they're, which does tie into disaster recovery, like planning how to back up those systems. So I think I had, business communications, like, hey, how do you talk to each other? But I also had technical business communication, which was more IT related. So I think it does depend on what your coursework is and how you can tie it to a job.
And Chris put that in there, your technical writings, like our score is saying, with your communications, putting that all together. The hidden thing people hate to do, and most teams will pick you up, if you want to do documentation for your communication and understanding cybersecurity, I think that'll be a good foot in the door because everybody on our team hates doing documentation. So that's a hidden skill. Shout out to Chris, my favorite ISO guy on the planet. Shout out to him. Welcome. Like I'm taking over Chris W's job. Welcome, man. We're gonna welcome you up to the show.
Yeah,
Shout out to
had to jump in. I've been waiting on Windows 11 to update, but
facts, man.
Jumping on.
Chris, I think Chris W. And we mentioned this in another show, is we were gonna do mock interviews, the interviewer and the interviewee. So I think you might want to kind of push that to the front because I think that's where the rubber hits the road. I would like to see R Square get in there and just beat people down in the interview.
She'll have to be the mitigator, the mediator in between.
That's old school, Shango. People don't do 2 columns, and the ATS has a hard time picking that up, Shango. That's my part. Shango, look at the go ahead.
A couple of other mentions here too is like Brexy mentioning that the home lab should be in the direction you're moving towards, which I think is valuable put there. And then Rothnir, I missed the question or the comment here at the time, but mentioned spelling out the world and putting the acronym in front.
Spelling out the word.
Yeah, I think it's word. I like the world.
Yeah. For I think that's in reference
to
the certification.
Facts. The world. Let's spell it out.
It doesn't matter if there's an acronym. Spell it out at least once with the acronym in parentheses, and then you can use the parentheses throughout the resume or your acronym throughout the resume, but at least at the very first time you use it, spell it out.
Yes.
Does somebody want to take this?
Yes. I mean, anything, even at my age, you got to show your experience. That's especially now there's so many people unemployed. Somehow you got to try to turn experience, even at entry level, they ask for 3 years of entry level. So you got to figure out how to tie that in. Be that search, internships, or Chris, projects, labs, home labs. You got to figure out, show that you've done it in real life.
There's so many people out there with degrees, even masters and doctorates, that are still struggling. I mean, they go months and months without work.
Years. Years.
I mean, and that's true too. There's people out there that have gone over a year before too.
And I'll put it out there.
Competition.
Be willing to try something. Like, even if it's not your dream job or where you want to be right outside of college, be open to getting your foot into a company and moving laterally through it. You can position yourself at, point A, but you want to be at point D. Move after a year or two. A lot of companies now are looking at pushing their employees to a new position versus hiring new employees. My company in particular is all about upskilling. They always want you to have your workday updated with your skills, your goals, your career aspirations. They throw trainings at you. Like, if it's not what you want to do, that's okay. Figure out how the corporate world works. If you've never had a job in the corporate world, like I came from aviation maintenance, no idea what working in an office is like. Huge culture shock. You can't cuss in the office. It's a huge mental shift. Even going into company to company. The company I work at might operate completely different from Southwest Airlines or, any other corporate environment. So just get in there and try to pivot from there, especially if you're looking at being homeless versus, because you can't find a job. Like, don't set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, I think our square is correct, and I think she even said it lightly, is once you get your foot in the door, it's easier to pivot. Long story short, this guy I work with, I liked him. He figured out he had a master's in cybersecurity, and he could never get in security. So I just walked him over to the big bosses, like, I think we should hire him, try him out. Everybody was kind of like, we can always, send him back to the department if we don't like him. And he just called me yesterday and said it was the best thing ever. But that's because he was in the agency and it was easy for him to pivot. It was very easy for him to come over and talk to us. So, like R Square said, once you get in the door, especially as a consultant, a lot of times you get in a job you don't like, then you pivot into something else. So,
yeah, but at least then they learn your work ethic. They see who you are. You meet other people. Like, go reach out. Like, hey, marketing. I've always wanted to be in marketing. Can you tell me about your position? Can I shadow you for a day? Like, it gives you so many opportunities to build those soft skills and your resume if you just get in the door and stop looking for, the needle in a haystack, golden star career that you've always wanted.
And no job is ever perfect. There's
Never.
Always a job. And long story short, I think I showed, when I first went to DOD, a consulting company reached out and said, we give you a 3-month contract to hire. Do you want to take it? I was between jobs and I took it. People would generate code and I would just build it. I didn't program. I didn't do. The crazy thing is I didn't realize for that job, all that programmers in 5 states had to come through me because I was building code. So I got cool with all those guys and they were offering me jobs. So the job I hated the most gave me the most contacts. So you never know how that's going to just work out for you.
And before we move to this question here, PBO's also mentioned in the past that especially starting out, go for the documentation of the stuff people don't want to do. That's like super common. I mean, that's what you see in the labor forces as well. So yeah.
And depending on what type of communication, and you would think people with master's degrees in tech, their English is horrible. So the policies were looking pretty bad. We had to get We had a documentation specialist. That used to be job at DOD because it was just so much paperwork, and they would just smooth it out. Wasn't very technical. We would lay it out, and they would just smooth it out, and that was their job.
So what's wrong with the 2-column resume here?
PBO touched on this already.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. It's old.
I just tuned him out.
No, it's fine. ATS doesn't pick it up. It's not very visually appealing. And I think for me, it's just a 1990s. If you look at any of the regular templates, I don't think I've ever seen 2 columns anymore.
You see them a lot in like artistic type
Facts.
resumes where you need some type of project portfolio, not like IT related portfolio type things, but where you're needing to create something and link to an external website and show several different types of projects. But yeah, typically more artistic marketing. You see a lot of the 2-column formats, but they'll also put more color and like pizzazz into the resumes because they're looking for those type of creative outlets in the role.
Facts. We don't do that over here, though. Our square. We don't.
Nope, not at all.
We don't do that over here. We don't. We barely recognize marketing as a major. I take that back. I'm sorry. I think I went too far with that.
But
shout out to marketing.
Yeah, I also have to say, when you do the 2-column format, do you see how tiny those bullets are? If you spread that across a page, it might be 1 line. You're really robbing yourself of giving your story when you shove it into your little 2-column format, because it makes it look really long, but you're not really putting anything in there.
Especially with that core skills, that's not adding much value at all.
I was going to mention too, I was just skimming through. Yeah, I was just skimming through this, and a lot of this stuff on the left side for core skills is in these bulletin points already anyways.
I was going to mention that as well, because when y'all said that it was just an RTS kind of keyword. So
and I think I said that at the beginning.
Yeah. If they were to just drop those and keep the experience of it, because it looks like they did actively use the tools for PCI DSS, because like SSL, like checking to see that secure ciphers are in there, it's like actively showing and coordinating PCI attestation or compliance. That would be the approach I would take, because you're actively using those tools.
And so you added the nomenclature of that too. So people on that team, when they see that, loves that. I love to see nomenclature from 800-53, poems, findings, mitigated controls. But like our square said, you need to put that in your story of how you did that job and use those tools inside your job experience. So.
Yep, exactly.
What's up, Dave?
Not much. Y'all made comment about the whole 2-page thing, and it made me think that this is a flyer that they can, fold up and they hand to you at the grocery store, or at church or something. Like, hey, look, here's my resume. Appreciate y'all looking into this, But again, I really, in jest, I was just thinking, we don't know where this person's coming from unless y'all do know this person. I don't know. But my point is, what if this person's coming from another part of the world where that's just how they do it over there? So, and I'm not saying they do, but I always try to think like that. Like, what gave you this idea to do it in the 2-column form, or that? That's all.
I'm interrupting you, Dave. You've been too nice. If you got NIST in there and you got FedRAMP in there, most of that's only going to be in continental United States.
I'm just saying, from a point of view of what gave it, where did you get this from in the first place? That's what I should say. Did Grandma teach you this, or
no? So it got off a bad template somewhere, man.
Yeah, it does look like a template.
There's a resume generating website where you input all of your information into fields, and then it gives you the selection of what kind of template you want, and it will automatically output one. And this looks very, very similar to one of the templates you can get off of that site. I know because I used it a long time ago.
Pick another template.
Gotcha.
A long time ago, like last week.
Pick another template.
Facts.
Now, what's the consensus on these bold phrases?
Don't do it unless it's for DOD.
Yeah, you have to be really, really selective. If you're bolding more than a handful of things, you're going to lose the purpose of bolding, because it's meant to draw your eye to very specific aspects of your resume. But if you're using it for your job titles and then trying to bold inside of your bullet points, it's worthless. If you only use it for like a very specific metric here in this job in your bullet point, it's going to draw their eye, and that's okay. But when you use it for a bunch of different areas of your resume, the whole visual draw is gone.
Facts.
You're gonna give whoever's looking at it SOC analyst alert fatigue.
Facts.
And I'm going to say this from a place because my resume used to have it. And I got torn apart in a resume review by a federal guy. He said, "You're dumb, take it out."
Facts. I love
I got a 10-page document of him ripping apart my resume.
the people just don't realize the feds are not nice. They are not nice.
He
Well,
helped
and
me so
also-
much, though.
Oh, it's with
Yeah.
love now, but that's the first time, depending on what, especially DOD, those are ex-military guys. So the first time I went there, they're cussing at me. So I'm like, are we really cussing? So DOD's a different breed.
PBO's
Yeah.
like, this isn't my office, cubicle.
I mean, it was real different. I mean, so yeah, it's just a different. It's real different. I really enjoyed it. Go ahead, Saha.
That's okay. I'll go ahead and put this out there as well. Do not take whatever you have been told in a commercial or civilian sector resume review and apply it to a federal resume and vice versa. They are two completely different animals, and what one side tells you is the correct way to go, you will get torn to shreds on the other side, because why on earth would you possibly think this was a good idea?
Well, that's why it's good
completely
to have multiple resumes. Just
It is,
exactly,
100%.
and for every job that you apply to, y'all have already said this 3 times. At least I heard it 5 times. I think catching up at 3 times speed. That you got, you make the job for what you want. So just keep that the other resume that you just did for the PCI or whatever you're applying for, and then come back to it.
Yep.
Update it a little bit. And yeah, if you're applying for government jobs, I can only imagine. I don't even know how crazy that looks, but
It looks,
oh, it's
it looks like this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is
that a book?
It is.
Oh.
If you're looking for federal resume
guidebook, yeah, wow, yeah, it's different. I just been lucky because I worked for commercial companies at federal sites. Then the federal sites would try to hire me, so they really didn't want to see my resume. So it was kind of funny.
Yeah, and then so OG Locke was talking about the communications degree with the minor in cybersecurity. So they're really kind of still undecided. It sounds like they haven't actually started the degree yet. So they're curious if it would be good considering in majoring in communications and minoring in cybersecurity for GRC.
I would flip those around if I would do it, but that's just me because.
Well, just real quick too.
Yeah.
So then I asked them like, what do they want to do? And they're just saying GRC analyst. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, go ahead.
I will flip those around. For me, because if you're a GRC analyst, they want to see that more prominent in your degree of your areas of studying. For me, that could be me. Communications, you just talking, man. I need you to be working and shit. So I don't know. That's just for me. Go ahead, David. I see you smiling. I'll go to David.
I had this conversation with B-Dubs, I don't know, a couple weeks back, and the interns that we normally go for, they all mostly major in IT not IT communications, IT management, cybersecurity, etc.
Right.
Somewhere along that line. Now,
Right.
if you don't know what you want to do and you're just saying GRC analyst, are you sure that do you really want to get into that? I know I saw Chris asking you the questions, but you really got to try to find. And I wrote in there earlier. It's like, look at the highway. Look at the whole field as a highway, and it's a multi-lane highway, right? And then if you really like being on that highway, now start to focus in on the lanes. Like maybe you want to go to the fast lane, or maybe you want to go to the slow lane, and that's just the way your life is. But you focus in on a lane or two and say, okay, I think hey, maybe this is where the lane I'm going to stay in. And I know it's tough because when I first started, I was like, I want to be red team. No, I want to be blue team. Purple is awesome. GRC, what the hell's that? I really like that. I'm already doing stuff like that. So you
Yeah.
might think something is cool right off the bat, but maybe something else tickles your fancy, and you just gotta, hey, I'm gonna go try to go down that lane.
And I think my only pushback to Dave, and he's 98% correct, is the more
Just 98.
Yeah, 98. The more, I guess, diversified your degree. If you do MIS and computer science, you can do a lot of things. Like I started off as a programmer, DBA cloud. Communication seems super narrow. I'm sure there's tons of say, but if you're trying to get in tech, GRC, a lot of times I'm old school. I expect you to have some tech before you get into GRC, right? To give you that foundation. I think a lot of people don't believe that, but that's why I think you need to do a more pinpointed degree. But once again, I'm a Gen Xer. But jump in there, R Squared.
I'm going to.
She's
So
I can't stop her. Go ahead.
if you're looking at GRC, I would 100% suggest a business degree, whether it's business administration or business analytics. I think you should focus less on what the degree is and what you're learning in that degree. So when I went through college a couple of years back, I was torn between data science, data analytics, business degrees because I was focusing on going towards data analytics. Well, the job that I really wanted to do, they got rid of it. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not a role you can get hired for. And that's all thanks to things like SQL and Tableau. Like anyone can do it. It doesn't exist anymore. So I'm glad I ended up looking at the skills and the tools that I used in the courses before I chose a major, because it gave me skills that were important and tools that got me the job I have now. So focus a little less on what the actual degree major is. And yes, if you're looking for cybersecurity and GRC within cybersecurity, get a cybersecurity degree. Like that's a no-brainer. But if you're looking at GRC, honestly, something more broad, do some type of degree for business because you're going to be working with business processes. GRC governs more than just cyber. It governs finance. You're looking at accounts payable, accounts receivable, procurement, HR can have stuff. Like it covers everything. So if you learn more about the whole build of a business in some type of a business related degree, you're going to have a better foundation for what they are going to be, like what compliance you're going to have to utilize. But yeah, just definitely, if you don't know what you want to do in GRC, get a generalized business degree and point your minor at what you want to do. Because my minor for my business analytics degree was computer information systems, because that's really where I wanted to go. And I was able to take fun classes that I enjoyed, because college is hard. I don't care who you are, it's difficult. And especially if you're doing an online degree, you have to have classes that resonate with you and what you find interesting to keep you on track to complete that degree. I've seen so many people drop out because it's just a check mark on their list. Yeah, I got a degree, but they don't finish it because they don't care about it. Find something you enjoy and use that as your minor, but get something generalized business if you don't know where you're really going.
Yeah, I really believe that the big thing is to try to narrow that scope down a little bit. And like, I really do think that the cybersecurity degree is going to be pretty universal for the GRC side, especially if that is what they want to work with. So I definitely agree with that. And that's a massive portion of GRC. But it also depends on what type of GRC you want. And I wanted to provide another side take to that too. So like, I personally want to go towards like privacy compliance. And so I'm looking at a bachelor's in business, and then I have an intention to go for cybersecurity masters afterwards to kind of balance that out.
And you can always
build.
It's a
lot more on the business side.
Yep. Once you have one degree, it's easy enough to get another degree. So if you have a bachelor's, you're not going to have to redo all of your general educations. You're going to have your 40 hours of focused whatever to get that other bachelor's in most cases, especially if you go back to the college, your alma mater that you already graduated from. Like, you can get another bachelor's. Plenty of people have them.
Yeah, I got two myself. One was a business administration with, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. But then the second one I got was my actual in information
Because
management and cybersecurity.
you don't
Yeah.
know. You don't know what you want to do until you do it. And I
Yeah.
think people get hung up.
I just want to say one thing. If you're interested in math, maybe you go finance, maybe you get a CPA, then you get your butt into GRC. That's where the money's
Accounting.
at.
Oh, just go off
I
and
mean,
get a CPA.
Go on the risk
I
side.
mean, speaking of
Gotta be
math,
doing the
my
SOC 2
bachelor's,
type 2. No.
my bachelor's is in math. So
Shout out to the actuaries.
Well, there you
Anything
go.
to-
Yeah, go for the CPA.
Anything
Yeah.
to add here, Chris H or B Dubs?
I had something real quick. B Dubs, did you have something?
I was just
Okay.
talking about my degree.
Yeah. When I was in chat earlier, I mentioned the technical communication or technical writing. If you want to keep that as like a minor, if you choose to pursue something else as your major, I think choosing a minor that you could have tangible writing samples, something like that, would be the way to go. I love the idea of having a minor to complement your degree, but it's not printed on your degree. You don't really have
Nope.
anything to show for your minor. So having something that is a little bit, hey, I have writing samples demonstrating that I can like break this process down and generate a report, documentation, things like that. Something I wish I had done that. I kept my minor because I had so many hours when it was my major. So it was a psychology minor, and then it's like, that's nice. And I try to branch into a little bit of like behavioral economics with fishing, but that's about it. So
Yeah, and you
not to
don't
discourage people, but
you don't necessarily have to have a minor either. I don't have a
Nope.
minor, but I did start out as an art
Facts.
major, so that made my instead of having a Bachelor of Science, I do have a Bachelor of Arts in mathematics, which is pretty rare. So
That's right.
And then on top of that, there are quite a few colleges in the United States and elsewhere where they specifically have bachelors of business administration in cybersecurity. It is the singular degree. In fact, one of the resumes that we looked over earlier, they had one from looked like University of Texas. So that's always going to be an option. But like people have said, GRC is a huge wall to try and find your niche or your crack in, where you want to try and get stuck in, find the thing that actually you enjoy. It's a very, very widespread. I would highly recommend, like what Chris H was saying, do a little bit of home lab if you want to, spin up an idea of, okay, here's a small company, a fictional company, and then write like a disaster recovery plan, or some stuff like that. You can get a feel for it, see if that's something that actually is something that you would enjoy before you get down the road, lock yourself into spending a lot of money on a degree, and then possibly find out that you know what, I don't really care for this all that much.
Yeah, I'm curious what brought you to GRC. Have you been watching this? Have you been watching Jerry or other things like that? Like, what brought you to that path? Have you looked at all the other things and then said, I really like this? So I mean, again, yeah, to your point, so I just look around and experience what you can, and then see, does this really meet the niche that scratches the itch that you have?
Yeah, and then I think this is a good moment to transition over to our spicy topic, and although important topic. So if you guys want to run away, no worries whatsoever. But I totally get it.
I like spicy.
Right? So especially with recent events, we're not going to use any examples here or otherwise, but definitely we had discussions in Discord and on the previous meeting about it. But there were quite a few people asking, like, what kind of things do we look for in these scam boot camps that we always are putting down and so forth. And I'm going to take this section of the video and publish this separately as well. So we'll have a separately published video where, we can have some discussions on this or otherwise. We are coming up to that 2-hour mark, but at least I'm going to go over a little bit because, I mean, it's a pretty important topic. And I added some of the different things that I brainstormed on the image here on the left, but we could definitely add to this. And these are just some of the talking topics. Like one of the very first things that I mentioned here is offers that are too good. Often saying 6-figure jobs, promising job placement, saying, oh yeah, you'll have a 6-figure job in 90 days or 60 or 6 months or whatever the hell. That is an instant hell no. I run. That is so sketchy.
I mean, that's
especially
one
if it's
of
in
the
big red letters. I've seen that before.
Yeah, that's a red flag just in social engineering and phishing too. So,
and that's
same
what I was going to
applies.
mention is that all of this really associates with the tactics of phishing. That's what it is.
Yep.
So
Facts.
The next one for sure.
yeah, urgency. So we've seen that. We've heard some of the stories in Discord and other situations on urgency. Oh, you know, you got to get this course and everything else. You're not going to be able to do anything. I think I mentioned that a little bit later on the ethical concerns at the bottom. But yeah, that urgency level. Like, oh, right now, you know, you can go through and get this for only $200. Usually we sell this for $1,000. Or I've seen way worse situations on that as well. So, did you guys have anything to add on those first two?
Yeah, I do.
Uh-oh.
The manipulated scarcity is really it makes my blood boil a little bit. And then the if you say, hey, I just can't do it, it's like, oh, well, you aren't willing to put enough effort into it. That's like pyramid scheme level predatory marketing style tactics, and it's crazy that it's bleeding over. Well, it's not surprising it's bleeding over into our industry, but it seems to be the go-to like mode of operation for these.
The word for me I see in this, but not in this. When somebody said you're gonna make generational wealth, that for me, that's the killer. If you say I'm generational wealth for me, I'm punching you in the throat. That's just for me. That's the killer buzzword for me.
Yeah, and then also we've seen this with the most recent one, but this is also really common on having to do a loan program. So they use Afterpay and Affirm and other things like that, and they often will assist you in setting that stuff up as well. Then you're locked. What happens is they get paid out. You open up a loan that you pay on monthly, and you're screwed if anything goes wrong. I don't know of any legitimate business that actually does that kind of stuff, especially assisting you on setting that up. For an example, Simply Cyber Academy does have, I forget what it's called. They have it on Amazon as well, I think, for like the payment plans or whatever the hell. But you already have an account for that. Like, they're not saying like, oh, hey, yeah, this is going to be $3,500 and you just got to pay, $50 a week for the next, 60 months. Yeah. So that's kind of a red flag as well. Paywalled and hidden, restricted communications. A lot of the stuff we see, they hype everything up, but then you gain access, or maybe you don't even get access after you pay, and there's nothing, or there's very little, or it's not as much that was promised. And then also restricted communications, lack of communications with peers or anybody who's gone through the program, no proof or evidence of such, and they really try to prevent you from like posting on LinkedIn or talking to other people about it. An NDA is also very common for a non-disclosure agreement, preventing you from talking to other people. That is also an instant hell no. So if you're looking at a program and they require you to sign an NDA, I'd run.
Yeah, I've never seen that in a training program.
Run far, far away.
Yeah.
They want you to sign an NDA because what they're doing, they don't want you to tell people about.
Facts.
Well, those NDAs only last for a little while too. If they're illegal and you get subpoenaed, you're allowed to talk about it then. But that's a whole different story. Hopefully, it never gets to that point. But the pressure that they put on you, if anybody ever tries to go for your pride, what the hell are you doing? Why are you letting your ego get in the way that much, anyways? But it does happen. I've seen it. I witnessed it. I mean, we've all been there at one point or another. But start to think about like, wait a second. Have you ever seen Chris or Jerry or anybody that you really trust and watch ever do that? No. Why would they, right? You either want to do it and you go find the right way to do it, or you don't. And these people just want to play on your ego and hope that you'll bite. You're the fish.
Yeah. And it literally happens to everybody. I've literally seen posts on LinkedIn, and I've talked to people who are very well accredited, have plenty of experience, and they still get scammed. So they really do prey off of just desperation and hope, to be honest. Which is like the worst of the worst, to be honest. Like it's absolutely disgusting with a lot of the stuff that we see, and there's a lot of these out there.
Facts, especially in this job market.
Yeah, and that also leads me to the next one here too. They often give something for free. So they may be like, hey, join our weekly session, or, hey, check out this one course or whatever else, to lure you into the actual real sale for the full on expensive stuff to, just make profit and so forth. So they try to, do something to show value and then coerce you into it. That's extremely common. I think almost every boot camp scam thing that I've seen has that in some way.
Here's our 10-page guide, $50 value, yours free. Reel you into the webinar.
Facts. Yeah. And then you show up to the webinar and they're like, oh yeah, without this program, you're screwed. You can't do anything. You've been working on this for 6 months. Yeah, you're never going to get there. But
sounds like
if
a
you give us,
oh, you did this other stuff? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. All those other programs, yeah, we tried them all. Ours is the best. Like, that's literally what it is. Yeah, run. Request for sensitive information. Like, I've legitimately heard about these scam boot camps being like, oh yeah, fill out this 1099 form. And then they literally, so one of the scam boot camps was actually money laundering through the people who signed up for the course. Literally.
Facts.
Like crazy. And then it makes it 10 times more difficult when it's like somebody foreign over in Nigeria, and then you're screwed after the fact or whatever. Like I haven't ever signed up for a course that would require that kind of stuff. So yeah, especially, social security number, financial details, passwords. Yeah, timeshare vibes.
That's what I'm saying, Cam. You feel me? Yeah. Hey, come on in here. Come on. Wait. Oh, you don't make that much money? Oh, well, you shouldn't have been here. So you got to pay full price now for that hotel room. How do I know? Because I've been there.
Gosh.
Facts, man. Come on, we know those assessors make the big money. Shout out to the assessors.
New unrecognized company or website. I posted on LinkedIn as well, and I try to say all the time, leverage the community, get multiple perspectives. There's plenty of people out there willing to help. Post in Black Hills, Anti-Siphon, Simply Cyber, Study GRC, the Try Hack Me Discord. Like, there's plenty of places that you can go. You could even post on LinkedIn and add a few people or something to get other takes on that. But then also you can look up, especially if it's in the States, most states have a SOS, the Secretary, what is it?
Secretary of State?
Secretary of State, where you can go and you could search for a company name to see if it's actually registered and some of the details. Also, when it was registered. That's worked for me up to this point. And then also who is lookup for the domain name, because a lot of these will burn the company and the domain and then open up another one whenever, issues arise. So they're usually not that old. I haven't really seen much that was more than maybe 2 years at the max before they start burning it. So, or they'll even run multiple at the same time. So, and then of course the ethical concerns, if they're especially providing copyrighted material and stuff that they, don't actually have permission to utilize, often they'll be like, oh, well, it's cheaper to pay us for it than to buy it directly. That's a huge red flag. Confidential material. There's, been evidence and so forth of people actually supplying official confidential documents from their legitimate companies in these types of boot camps to try to gain a credibility. So they're like, oh, you want to learn exactly what I do at my job? Well, here, I'll actually allow you, I'll screen share with you while I'm at work. That's literally happened before.
Or they steal other people's work and then they try to pass it off on as their own.
Yeah, that too.
That would get you fired at DOD ASAP if you ever did that on the Fed, especially on the Fed side.
Yeah, and then going back to like the overreaching lies, promising things, often not being able to fulfill that or otherwise. But by the time you figure that out, it's already too late and they got your money. So
Yeah.
The only thing worse than this, Chris, I think would be blackmail or harm to, threatening to harm you or your family or something like that. But this is so dang, this is just below. I don't know. I hope there's a special place somewhere down deep for these people. You know what I mean? That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely disgusting with how the job market is and everything else, and people are just trying to, get where they want to get with their goals and so forth, and they're just trying to, literally prey. That's literally what it is, and it's bad.
Yeah, the sad part about it is GRC and cybersecurity is recognized. I tell people we the new Bitcoin. You get your your certification. You make 6 figures in 3 months. You good to go, right? So we just the new Bitcoin. It's just our turn, and especially in this market, I think.
Yeah, but I mean that's pretty much like what I wanted to throw out there. Is that's a lot of the different red flags there. Leverage community, get perspectives. Don't let urgency get the best of you. So
would you all agree that you would do your due diligence, right? I think that's what you're trying to press out there too, Chris, is do your due diligence. If you're going to go to college, you do your due diligence. You're trying to work for a company, you do your due diligence, make sure it's not fake. Do the same thing for anything else, everything in life, right? Look at it with objective eyes. And if you're not sure, ask for help. We're all here. We're not going to lie to you. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't speak for PBO, but no.
Thanks.
PB only gives out truths. Even if you don't want them, you're getting this truth. PB, as a kid say, PBO standing on business. Go ahead, B-Dub.
And I want to add, like, with anything in life, don't make emotional financial decisions ever. If you have a financial decision, whether it's professional or personal, if you feel any kind of emotions about it, you should step back, take a day. If they're like, well, you have to decide today, well, then you don't need that. You don't spend money out of emotion, whether you're desperate or you're excited or, whatever, if it's positive or negative emotion, you need to use your brain and, look at the facts and make the decision from there. Don't make the decision from your heart.
That's why they say sleep on it, right? If it's a big decision, especially with money, take a night to sleep on it and think about it again, hopefully with a clear head in the morning.
The 3 things my old mama taught me was cash is king, stay away from fast women, and if it's good today, it'll be good tomorrow. Sleep on it for 48 hours. So just sleep on it. Sleep on it for 40. If it's good today, it'll be good tomorrow. It'll be good today. Because sometimes you sleep on it, you go, yeah, that don't seem quite right. So those are my 3 things in the world. I failed on 2 of those, but trying to get the 3rd one right.
Gonna work on sleeping for 48 hours. Oh,
right.
Right? That would be so nice.
Oh, 48 hours. So rested. Cash is king. That's something. Cash is king. Stay away from that credit thing. It don't work.
Yeah, and definitely reach out to multiple people, because scams aren't all the same and some people won't see it. Like we tried to sell my car when we were moving, and 90% of the people asking about my car when I posted it were all scammers, and they all wanted you to go and get a car auto report from these sketchy sites. And I'm like, I'll give you a Carfax. Like, I'll go buy that for you and send it to you. No, you have to go through this. My best friend, she's like, oh yeah, that looks normal. That's not a weird ask. Just go. You want me to put my credit card information in what? No. But she didn't see it. So definitely get multiple perspectives on anything. If you kind of feel like, is this okay? Is this normal? Does it seem like a red flag? Ask multiple people and get different viewpoints.
And I think the thing they sell a lot is, this is a bad job market. Don't feel bad. It's going to take time. You're not a failure. It's just part of the grind. I just think they try to say, oh, you're slow, or we can help you. There's no magic book, no magic bullets. There's no magic beans. You're not going to get a beanstalk. You got to put in work.
And look, if you're really trying to get into this business, you better learn this phrase right here: trust but verify. And so
Facts.
get
Actually,
on
it's
it.
don't trust, always verify. That's the zero
Damn, look,
trust
it's just
way.
like, yeah, exactly. Zero trust. Yep, zero.
Facts. Especially as a assessor. We got this SOC 2 type 2. I don't trust it. Gotta do my own review.
What was in scope? Yeah.
Unless my man Dave did it, then it'll be good. If Dave didn't do
Hey.
it, then I'm rejecting it.
I'll say this last thing, and then I have to jump. The family needs some help. But I will say that I had a client today that said, "Wait a second. So you're telling me that you need to see the rest of these portals for our application?" I said, "Well, if you look at what we did your SOC 2 on last year, it was on your whole health service portal. So any of your portals that are in the health services, that's what we need to see." And the guy says, "Oh, well, I apologize." So if you don't know your scope, and I don't know your, I mean, I hope to God I know your scope. But anyways, I'm sorry. I just thought that was funny. But you were talking about SOC 2. So, hey, y'all be well. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much. Talk to y'all later.
GRC Mafia.
Take it easy.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, did you guys have any other particular topics, or we could go around and do our final last words?
Yes. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to thank everyone on the panel and for the channel for tonight. That resume that was sent that you put up there, the PCI compliance resume, that was a friend of mine's resume, and I really appreciate that execution of that resume. And I'll do a follow up with him, let him know. And thank you, Chris, for showing that, and thank you, Miss Rolla, for destroying it, and PDO for destroying it,
With
Chris
love.
for destroying it. I really appreciate everything.
Gosh.
And Chris, D-Buzz, I really thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Of course. Community built, community driven.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sean.
GRC Mafia. I should do a video on what the hell that actually means, because somebody asked me what do I mean by that, and what it means is like Study GRC came from the community itself. I was at ground zero. November of 23 is when I started like going down the GRC rabbit hole, and it's all community. Yeah, it's all community built. Like that's how I got the experience and areas that I've become a little bit more knowledgeable about.
Chris, real quick. I think you were lost in the forest of Discord, and there was a black angel come down and gave you some nice advice.
Hey!
He's not wrong.
Tons of credit in the past.
Shout out to PBO.
My favorite story is like literally one of I think it was like our 6th call. Like me and PBO spent tons of time in voice chat, and I heard about 853, and I was talking to him about it. I'm like, how the hell does this even work? And then we're talking about it and so forth, and it started making a little bit of sense. But then I was like, but this is just one framework of like 50 I have to learn. And PBO's like, what the hell is wrong with you? He's like, hell no.
No. And Chris, my man, ISO, once you learn one, they're all kind of, you got some policies, procedures, some exceptions, some scoping, even after PC. If you can do one, you can pivot in all of them. But no, it was fun. I saw you and the other Chris, not to be named, grinding in the wilderness. So, but no, shout out to that. I just thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole thing with community driven is we all help each other out and everything else, and it's a renewable cycle is what it is. You learn, you grow, you improve, and so forth, and then you give back to the community, and that's how it's community built, community driven.
I like that phrase though. You need to get a banner. I like that, man.
I know, right? I know.
Cool phrase, man.
Sci-Hi, you got any final last words there? I think he's having some issues there, but Chris H, Hildago, maybe if I don't butcher it too badly.
Yeah, no, you're good. You got it. Yeah, everyone, good luck out there if you're job searching. I hope sessions like this, keep attending, keep submitting your resume, get that feedback. Coming from that job search and trying to find that position. Everything everyone said today, just being willing to pivot, willing to tailor to kind of the jobs that you're aiming for towards. I'm still pretty much GRC, but I am leaning heavily into the vulnerability management side. So there's always transferable skills on what you're going for. But just keep the faith, keep going, and you'll land where you need to land. So,
and then also June 10th, and then I forget the next one is you're doing 2 of the public speaking events in Simply Cyber's Discord, right? Next month.
Right. So with conference season and Luke Canfield, who also leads the group, he's working on a talk for Wild West Hacking Fest. So tune in June 10th for his talk. But we're really trying to ramp up kind of concentrated sessions leading up to August when everyone's just busy conference season. So also I'll be out of pocket after August with the new baby. So it's like, let's try to get a few sessions in before I'm out. So
Good luck.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how that was, but then also the new position as well.
Yeah, it's going great. Working on tools that, I had read-only access before on in other positions, and actually being hands-on, I'm really getting a feel for being a security analyst / GRC analyst. So,
bam.
Yeah.
Rania?
Yep. Relevance. Target your resumes. Find a path. Pick a couple of different jobs and focus on those. You can't shoot for everything. Just target the resumes. If it's not relevant, don't need it.
And take the bold out.
Thanks.
And PBO?
No, another great stream. Like you said, great knowledge. And I think you hit on something. And people in the chat, if you need me, hit me up in Discord. Chris might need to send me the link because half the time I can't see shit in the Discord, but I'll be trying. But you can reach out to me. Brother Shango knows you can actually hit me up on LinkedIn or Discord or professionalblackops@gmail.com. It's so late I can't even think of my email. But reach out to the Discord. Chris usually pings me if I don't see it, so that's definitely a good way. And everybody can see it. And a lot of times if I apply to something, I usually add Chris and B-Dub so they can see what I apply to, especially if I'm applying in their Discord because they're responsible for their Discord. So shout out to me. Once again, I would give anybody 15 minutes if you need me. So and once again, if you put something in there and Chris thinks he needs my attention, he usually personal DM the old guy so I can see it. But once again, just glad to help the community.
And plus, PBU goes live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, this last Tuesday was AI ML pipeline governance, which I listened to earlier this afternoon.
I gave you a shout out in there a couple times.
Yeah. I one of the things I was going to mention is I absolutely love the pause at the beginning. For like 2 minutes, you're just like sitting there, not even talking. I'm like, what the hell, PBO?
When I play music, did I play music? I was struggle streaming, man. You know me.
I know. PBO's a master at struggle streaming.
I'll be struggling streaming, man. I think
10-minute countdown, PBO. Come on, no.
I'll be that.
Skip.
I know. Shout out to the countdown.
Really. Yeah, great overview and so forth. PBO definitely took that a little further, I should say.
I took it personal, man.
Yeah,
I do a video.
Say, but I didn't know if I wanted to take it that far.
Oh no, I'm all about the personal. With love, I like. But no, once again, we talked about that. The maturity of your organization. That I'm sure we can do a stream on that. Is how you look in the organization. I'm a developer, so I usually dip my toe a little more in development. A lot of times, GRC people don't dip their toe in development. So, what you're comfortable in the realm. Once again, GRC and cybersecurity is a big domain.
Yeah. And then B-Dubs, final last words?
Yeah, I mean, if you're out there job searching, keep your head up. Don't lose hope and stay persistent. Don't get desperate. The right thing's going to happen at the right time, but you've got to put yourself out there so that you're in the right place at the right time. So...
And then also B-Dubs' blog every Monday, cybersecurity, GRC related, including an article about how to blog.
Yeah, I wrote a blog about blogging, so there's that.
Yeah. Zero Trust, Beyond the Buzzword, The Hacker's Guide to Blogging.
Well, I had so many people ask me, about my blog and how you start and whatnot, so I kind of condensed my advice into a blog.
I need to block.
So now when I get asked that question, I can be like, hey, look, here's this blog that I wrote about it.
No,
And the study group, we have 2 weeks left, 5 sessions. So that will be coming to an end, but it is not too late to join. Yeah. Pop
And
in
it's free
anytime.
forever on YouTube.
Yeah, free forever on YouTube. But yeah, even if in the Discord, if you're like, well, I haven't come to a single one yet, you know, I don't want to feel out of place or whatever the case, like you're welcome. Even if you didn't watch the live session, you want to come just hang out, chit chat, whatever.
What's your next endeavor before you B-dubs?
I am not doing a study group. My next endeavor will be you know, working more on some upskilling for myself and figuring out how those bills are going to get paid and whatnot, but with my consulting. Yeah, other than that, it's still up in the air. I don't know, we'll see.
Shout out to the bills.
See what happens. See what I get peer pressured into next.
And there will be something, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you to everybody joining the panel and giving your guys' take and perspectives and so forth as well. Adding additional value out there, and then all the awesome questions and discussions included in the chat too. The really cool thing with chat is that's permanently archived into the Discord live chat, which is a huge benefit for archiving. I go back all the time because I don't remember half the links. So like when Chris H was sharing that ISO course, I had to go back in Discord like 4 times before I actually bookmarked it. I won't hate on it too much. It's okay. If you have to learn about ISO, it is free, and it's still free right now.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you all for joining us today, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow at 11 o'clock for our AMA open stage, which is every Friday at 11. You guys have a great rest of your guys' night, and let's finish out the week strong. GRC Mafia.